Yeah, so I'm going through some stuff when I was at Time Warner Studio. Also, I was getting moonlighting at Permuted Press, doing some work for them. Yeah, so they had a video game, the Evil Dead video game, which was a fistful of boomsticks. With Bruce Campbell and shit. I'm a big fan of Evil Dead, and then they needed some concept work and all that stuff. So I'm drawing, for the game, for kind of promotional stuff for the game. I was doing some of that in there, but I was also doing. We're gonna do the first version of Night Syndrome. They wanted to have a werewolf that looked really different face wise. I was working on different facial features on werewolves, and this is once again this was like one of the books that got knocked out was kind of a blind zombies of the night of the Knights Templar kind of comic book theme that I was doing the original concept work for. I kind of see that here. Going back to that, this was has back when I was doing stuff for Atomic Fox and the stuff I was doing live at Time Warner Studios, on demand because they would just ask you for stuff, and you would be sitting there in the room with people, and then they would have these ideas. There's a pyramid. I remember this idea. I should bring this back now that I got the copyrights back. Um, yeah, here's one of the. That's an old one. The Fistful of Boomsticks video game. Um, let's see it's good because of light in here. But yeah, doing an Ash character. It's kind of weird because I do the character Ash, but no matter what it is, because I used to be graffiti, I am a graffiti artist. They come out kind of b-boy looking, and that have the original art for that. Yeah, so then you be in there with a bunch of, pretty much the whole day, go to the studio and you have all these people throwing these ideas at you, and then you just draw them out. And then they have to be, and if it was a good idea, then you'd have to draw the idea better. So we're talking about the werewolf transformations, how we would do it differently in the film. I remember this because a guy bring up the Frank Miller book, 300, and he goes, there was a scene like this in a Frank Miller book, with all the Spartans in the back, and he's like, yeah, I want to do something like this because I want to be able to show it to the art director to see if you could actually get something like this put on film for a screen test. And I remember drawing all these characters during lunchtime. That'd be nuts. That guy, and I kind of made up this own character, kind of yeah. And like I said, yeah, I was really inspired by the old 1970s films, horror films. It's really good. You can actually see that when they do Castle and all that stuff here. When I was out there doing it. So one of the guys at one point, this is kind of weird because this was actually knocked off of the film and book project. He wanted to have the characters could turn to animals, and he wanted like Richard the Lionheart have look like a lion, but like a real savage one. And I remember drawing this sketch out, how that would look. Then I would come up with these really weird sketches for come on. It's my cat trying to destroy everything right there. Different ideas how the Knights Templar would look, with that ghoulish aesthetic when we sketch them out. Yeah, some of them would be like the full fruition. Just kind of like a storyboard here, where I did one of the undead Templars killing one of those werewolves, because the undead Templars here were going to be good guys. That was the idea. Of course, Barbara and them had the film rights for the Knights Templar and stuff. Then we had this cat's jumping on me. Yeah, there was like a story of this like bioengineered nun that was gonna be in there. Oh, I remember this is totally different. This is my first version of Dougal Dixon's Night Stalker bat, which he had on. It was the future. The future is wild was really formed off of Dougal Dixon, and they wanted me to do something like that for the series. But they had there was copyrights on that. Yeah, so right here you can see what. Yeah, it would have been certainly a good book, and a good movie. If they could do stuff like this with it, undead knights killing werewolves. We had another character that was really good that I made. I just got the copyright back with Clara Carnifex. Here she is here. fighting these weird mole man creature type things. Of course, I was drawing all this in studio. So that's, and here's another one because this actually first came out when a novelist asked me to do this thing with like they want to do Templar vampires. That was the first one. And then when I moved to Time Warner Studios, they changed the idea. Uh, and then of course I used it for my characters later on. I like to use my own characters because then you don't want to have people have the copyrights. And unfortunately, they do have a copyright for your characters for 5 years when you're in studio. So that's one of the bad things about doing stuff for studios.